Hi, lovelies. In the UK right now, people owe around £76 billion on credit cards, and nearly half of that is being charged interest, often above 30% a year. At the same time, luxury car sales are rising, designer brands are booming, and social media is full of people who look incredibly wealthy. Something doesn't quite add up. Because behind a lot of those lifestyles, there's a maxed out credit card and no savings buffer. Looking rich is loud. Real wealth is quiet. And once you understand the difference, you start noticing it everywhere. Today we're going to look at 10 signs someone might be pretending to be rich, and what real wealth tends to look like instead. 1. Buying the badge. Walk through almost any supermarket car park in the UK and you'll see it. BMWs, Audis and Mercedes everywhere. But look closer and many of them are entry-level models. The smallest engines, the most basic trims. Because the goal isn't always the car. Sometimes the goal is the badge. Around 90% of new cars in the UK are bought using finance agreements, such as PCP. That allows someone to drive a £40,000 to £50,000 car for £500 to £700 per month. But what gets missed is depreciation. A £45,000 car can lose £15,000 to £20,000 in the first 3 years. Meanwhile, the average UK household saves less than £200 per month. So sometimes someone is spending 3 or 4 times more on their car payment than they are building their future security. Real wealth usually prioritises what stays in the bank, not what sits on the driveway. 2. Talking about money more than building it. Another pattern appears in conversation. Some people constantly steer conversations toward money, income, investments, deals, opportunities. But often the conversation is about future money that hasn't actually arrived yet. Real wealth rarely needs to be explained constantly. Financial confidence tends to show up quietly, not loudly. 3. Luxury before stability. Designer handbags, luxury watches, high-end trainers. Nothing wrong with nice things, but the order they appear matters. The median UK household savings are roughly £7,000, yet it's common to see people wearing luxury items worth thousands, sometimes more than their savings. Real wealth builds foundations first. Security, savings and investments. Then luxuries come later. I used to sit across from people every day who looked like they had it all together, and the ones quietly building wealth almost never looked the part. 4. Earning more but never getting ahead. This one matters more than most people realise, because this is where a lot of financial futures quietly change direction. A pay rise arrives. At first it feels like progress, relief, breathing space, but then slowly, the lifestyle begins to rise with it. A slightly better car, a nicer flat, more meals out, better holidays, nothing extreme, just upgrades. And within months, that extra income disappears and the feeling returns. Still stretched, still waiting for the next pay rise. I've seen this firsthand. Sitting across from people month after month. People earning good money, living in nice homes, driving nice cars, but quietly carrying very little financial security underneath. Because the gap had gone. That gap between what comes in and what goes out. That's where your future lives. If that gap disappears, you're not moving forward. You're just running faster on the same treadmill. Real wealth doesn't come from earning more. It comes from keeping more of what you earn. 5. The social media illusion. Social media makes wealth incredibly easy to fake. Luxury restaurants, designer shopping bags, airport lounge photos, but you never see the credit card bill that arrives afterwards. Real wealth often looks boring from the outside. Quiet decisions repeated for years. 6. The never-ending car payment. Lease a car, return it, lease another. Over 20 years, someone might spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on car payments and still own nothing. Real wealth asks a different question. Does this purchase build my future? 7. Looking successful, but one emergency away from trouble. Emergency funds are invisible, yet financial advisors recommend saving 3 to 6 months of expenses. This protects against job loss, repairs or unexpected costs. Fake wealth buys visible things. Real wealth builds invisible protection. 8. The upgrade habit. Modern marketing thrives on upgrades. New phones, new watches, new everything. Yet a £70 phone contract can often become a £10 SIM-only deal once the handset is paid off. That difference can save £600 to £800 every 2 years. Small decisions compound into real wealth. 9. The know-it-all about money. There's also a quieter sign. Someone who always has the answer, always explaining what others should be doing, where to invest, what to buy, how to get ahead. But often, there's very little curiosity. Real financial confidence tends to look different. It's quieter, more considered, because people who are genuinely building wealth understand something important. Money is personal, circumstances matter, and long-term results come from consistency, not opinions. 10. Trying too hard to look wealthy. The final sign is the simplest. Trying too hard. Too many logos, too many signals, too much effort to look the part. Because when wealth is real, it doesn't need to prove itself. In fact, many people who are genuinely financially secure look surprisingly ordinary. Simple clothes, modest cars, unremarkable lifestyles. Because their confidence isn't coming from appearance, it's coming from stability. Looking rich is loud, real wealth is quiet, fake wealth is a performance. It requires constant spending to maintain the image. Real wealth grows quietly and patiently, until one day it creates something far more powerful than appearances. Freedom. And once you start seeing the difference, you begin making very different decisions with your money. And that's when you truly start to love your money.